Yeah, so hello everyone. Welcome you to this 20th day of April 2020. It's actually 2020. I welcome in particular all our vice chancellors who are here. I welcome all our students from Nigeria, from Democratic Republic of Congo, from Burundi, from Ghana. And I welcome all our vice chancellors who have been able to join us. Welcome Professor Duwola Yinka, VC, University of Ibadan. The Secretary General, Association of Vice Chancellors, Professor Association of Vice Chancellors of Nigerian Universities, Professor Mike Foborode, who was Vice Chancellor of Obafemi Awolowo University, Professor Abayomi Arigbabu, who gave us another earth-shaking lecture the other week. We welcome you too. Let's see, I'm just scrolling. Professor Juma Shabani, you are forever, welcome. We have quite a lot of professors here. Professor Uche Nzewe from University of Nigeria, Nsukka. Professor Tunde Owolabi, the Deputy Center Director overall, and then Professor Shiwa Akintola, Deputy Center Director of Science. And of course, Professor Tony Olusoya. I like your cap, by the way. I like your cap. Tony, I like your cap. I'm going to wear a cap in a little while. In between the other session. So, who is our lecturer for today? I have the pleasure of introducing him. I'll just share my screen with you. Our lecturer for today, ladies and gentlemen, is Michael Adetunji Ahove, Dr. Michael Adetunji Ahove, who is a senior researcher at the prestigious Center for Environmental Studies and Sustainable Development, CESED, and the Environmental and Safeguard Officer, as well as the Research Coordinator, the Africa Center of Excellence for Innovative and Transformative STEM Education of our university. Dr. Ahove's research interests are in environmental education, especially climate change mitigation and adaptation education. Is involved in the youth and local communities as well as greenhouse gases assessment. His studies also cover science education and quality assurance in higher education in Africa. His conferences, seminars, workshops, presentations, and journal publications are dotted around the globe. The man is widely traveled, but COVID-19 has tied him down. He's a member of several international scholarly organizations like NARS, like STAN, that served in various capacities and has been consulted widely in the areas of education and environment. He is a Cornell Climate Online Fellow of Cornell University in Ithaca, New York. These are his contacts. Now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very delighted to welcome Dr. Michael Adetunji Ahove. He's looking at elephants here. That is conserving. Michael, so you have the floor.
Good morning to everyone present here, the vice chancellors and our professors that are present. Today, as I speak, I want to acknowledge our great vice chancellor. It's a great man, a good man. You will see that the influence of our distinguished professor Bukola has been very sound, and he has also influenced the life of our vice chancellor. These distinguished professors have been able to influence our university. When you have two great heads with two great hearts, what you will find is a university that will rise from the dust and to dust several universities in Nigeria. Today, Lagos University stands out as the #1 university in Nigeria. So what are we talking about? Last Monday, Professor Aribabu was exceptional, where he made a presentation on constructing achievement tests and determining the validity and reliability. And so he made valuable contributions and earth moving, as our professor have said. Presentation, we talked about achievement tests, how to construct achievement tests. He explained to us the concept and the types of validity and reliability. Also, he spoke about the protocol for determining validity and reliability of achievement tests. So what more can I say? He has been able to elucidate extensively on what we are talking about. So I am just coming as a follow-up on what he has presented. Today I'm speaking on constructing and determining the validity and reliability of questionnaires. So by the end of this teaching, as we conclude, I will expect everyone, student here, to be able to mention the types of questionnaires that are in existence. Secondly, you should be able to highlight the anatomy of a typical questionnaire. Aside from that, you should be able to list the criteria for developing Afrocentric questionnaire. Afrocentric questionnaire. The third expectation is that students should be able to identify the sources for deriving the items for building a questionnaire or constructing questionnaires. And finally, should be able to list individuals or groups that to be involved in this procedure. So, ladies and gentlemen, we are talking about instruments. So there are different kinds of instruments. Instruments in medicine. You know, as COVID-19 is on, a lot of instruments in medical profession are at work today. But we are talking about instruments in the area of education, teaching and learning process. So we have several types of instruments: achievement test, questionnaire, interview, interest inventory. We have a checklist, we have rating scale, we have observation schedule. There are several others. It's not limited to this. So my primary focus today to learn and interact is the questionnaire. So I try to explain the questionnaire as an excellent instrument that can elicit the first-hand information. You want to get primary information, the questionnaire is excellent for such. It's also excellent in surveying from a very large group of people. And it's very free to obtain data. It can also be used to gather large data as you get the influence, to influence the purpose of people. The question is, how will you describe a questionnaire? How will you? It's something for you to sit down, think about, and brainstorm as you discuss. How will you, as a person, as an individual, describe a questionnaire? Types of questionnaire. There are 3 types of questionnaire I'm talking about today. There will be several others, but 3 major types of questionnaire. The first one is referred to as the open-ended formats. Open. That means there is liberty, there is freedom. The respondents here are expected to freely express their mind. That is one factor about the open-ended format. Free expression, at the same time, it gives you a better feedback. Why? Because the respondent has the freedom to express his or her mind. The second one is the closed-end format. You can see the triplets here. The triplet on the right falls to the category of closed-end format. The advantage is it gives multiple options to respond. So the respondent has options. So he's closed, just as we are closed by COVID-19 in our rooms. So you are limited. You have limited movement, unlike the open, where we don't have COVID-19 around. And so that is an instrument that many of us usually use, the closed-end format. The third one is the third triplet in the middle. That's the mix. You know, when you mix blue and yellow, for the purpose of this course, you mix blue and yellow, what do you have? You have like a peach color, like a purple color. And so a blend of the two, which is the blend of open and closed. So these are the three types of questionnaire we are looking at. And so if you pick the closed end, which is very common or often used, we have about 5 types of this type of instrument. The first one is the leading type. The leading type. Respondents here opt for an answer and that are very similar. So there is a set of response that the respondent is expected to fill up. Example is, what do you think of the effectiveness of CTC approach? That's a direct question, and you expect to answer directly. You are limited to answer, yes, effectiveness of CTC is that, so and so. You go straight and you respond. That is the leading type. You are led to a particular direction. The second type is the importance type. Importance. In this instrument, which I think some of you will have at one time or the other seen before you began this course, Prof sometimes brings this kind of instrument around, is the importance type. There is a statement that is brought out and you expect to tick based on the level of importance. For example, how do you rate the ACEITSE virtual class? So I will expect you as a respondent to tick either extremely helpful, very helpful, somewhat helpful, not helpful, or absolutely not helpful. So there is a level of importance that you respond to, and it follows the principle of a continuum. What is the principle? The principle says that while you are making a response, the first, second, third, fourth to the end response, it's flowing into one another such that you will not be able to categorically say there is a break in between one level of a response to the other. May I stress that your capacity to be able to use words becomes very important here. The third closed instrument, ladies and gentlemen, is the Likite type. Very popular. Likite type. Here the respondents are expected to tick, you place a tick on the instruments to show your level of agreement. To what degree do you agree on a question or a statement? Meanwhile, you need to understand that sometimes an instrument will have a question. Also, an instrument will also have an item. There's a slight difference. In the item, it is not a question. It is a simple statement. But the question is actually a question that requires your response. For instance, how often do you visit the zoo? That's a question. The response will be never, rarely, often, or always. Look at this other question. It is a good idea in our culture to visit the zoo. That is an item. It is not a question. And so you have options, the Likite type of options. The first, strongly agree. That your agreement is very strong. The second is that you agree, but that agreement is not strong. The third, you disagree. And the fourth, your agreement is very strong. That is a continuum that flows from one response to the other without having a bridge in between. The fourth closed-ended instrument is referred to as the dichotomous type. Is a dichotomous type. Dichotomous, like two, die. Respondents here are expected to respond on either a yes or a no. Also, you could have a true or a false. This is dichotomy. You have one leg there, one leg there to respond. These are the usual words that are often used. The fifth, ladies and gentlemen, is the bipolar instrument or bipolar type of closed instrument. This question or statement has two extremes that are opposite. You have an example below that says, what is your preference for the following? On the extreme left, you have the statement that says, I like going for walks. On the extreme right, it says, I like watching a movie. Ladies and gentlemen, those are two extremes. Somebody wants to go for a walk. Somebody wants to go to a movie. They are extremes. But what is the response from the respondent? He has the option, or she has the option, of placing a tick any of the 5 boxes that is closest to the statement or question that that person wants to respond to. So if he moves closer to I like moving a movie, taking the last option, it means the person has a strong affinity for watching a movie. If he stays in between, he's saying, I'm neither there nor here. So let's look at the anatomy of the questionnaire. I know our grandfather, professor and vice chancellor, Professor Nimi Briggs, is an outstanding man when we talk about anatomy. But we're not looking at the human anatomy here. We're looking at the anatomy of a questionnaire. I've tried to list what I consider to be basic parts of a standard questionnaire. The first is the title or the name of the questionnaire. For instance, I said a questionnaire could be teacher's attitude. So cultural, techno, contextual approach. And I call it tact-car. Tact-car. So while I'm writing my write-up, my thesis, rather than writing teacher's attitude to blah, 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 I can just say tact-tar, tact-tar, tact-tar. So that is the name of the questionnaire. The second one, it's important to identify a purpose. There should be a portion in that questionnaire where you will write in a word or two the purpose. The second one, give an instruction. The third one is create a background, information that can elicit or gather information from the respondent on the background of the person or the demographic information of the person. Examples, the gender, the teaching subject, teaching experience, a few others. Then I come to another important area that could be in sections. If you have section A, some call it section 1, others could make it section 1.0, and then you can just follow that procedure. And then perhaps the first section is looking at teaching methods awareness. The second one, we look at attitude to tact-car. And the third section could be willingness for usage. So this is a model that you can use. And importantly, the last aspect I consider to be an important anatomy is to appreciate those who have responded. We don't just come to somebody, collect data, and then just move off. I think it's important for a questionnaire to appreciate the respondent. So, criteria for developing Afrocentric questionnaire. I've tried to evolve something which you all have in mind when we want to develop questionnaire in our studies. Please remember that one of the primary goals of this project we are working on is to have an Afrocentric technique that we want to use to break down the barriers of learning. In Nigeria, in Ghana, in DRC, all over the world, wherever the soul of our food or intellectual minds travels, our goal is to raise Afrocentric instruments, methodology, to bring about change. So the first one I said you should have at the back of your mind before you develop your instrument is the cultural worldview. Have the cultural worldview of the African in your mind. Let it be within your mind. The second one is take a decision. If you want open-ended, closed-ended, or a mixed questionnaire, you have to take that decision before you start developing your instrument. And that requires you have to think. Good thinking will bring good product. The third one is develop researchable questionnaire. And this question, the researchable questions, beg your pardon, and this question must align with the problem you have identified for investigation and the objectives you've also identified. So they must align. Your research questions that are researchable must align with problems and the objective. The fourth one, you should be open-minded. And very important, critical thinking. We need to let the world know that Africans can think. You know, my vice chancellor asked me one question one day. We were in a conference. And he said, one of the challenges of many Africans that they think they cannot think. But that is never correct. That is never correct. That if you can create enough time to really think over and over on an issue, you will have the capacity to break the barrier to your low level of reasoning. And that's why you can see these Africans thinking. They are thinking, developing something. COVID-19 is giving us opportunity to find time to think through and to break barriers. Number 5, note the respondent's context. Very important. The context for which you are investigating, the community. Get to the community and understand their line of thoughts. You must understand the context for which you are investigating. And finally, available technology. So if you can follow this, before you develop your questionnaire, I want to assure you have an Afrocentric instrument. I have an array of manual, step-by-step procedure that we should follow when developing an instrument. When you want to develop your instrument, you need a manual. You know, if you buy a product, a laptop, an air conditioner, whatever, if you don't read the manual and you start up, you could have challenges. And so before you develop any instrument, please ensure you go through this manual. The first one is there has to be a name, as I mentioned, the nomenclature. The second one, there has to be a purpose. Your intention must be clear. Instructions must be very clear, and the instruction should give simple tasks to the respondent. Don't make it complex. Let it be simple, digestible for the respondent, not for you. The next one is get enough items that will elicit the background of the person. It's going to be like a mirror that you are putting in front of the respondent. You need to be able to elicit, extract certain background information from within of the respondent. Place similar items in the same section. You're asking about awareness of instruments, taking technique. Then have a section that looks at that. Okay, the next one I said, develop preferable and where necessary, relevant items. Group all of them based on the research question. So if you have a research question, you could have 6 items in the instrument that will link all the responses to that question. So by the time you analyze the 7 items, it should be able to answer that research question. The next one is ensure that these items or questions can adequately elicit expected responses. If you want to construct, you need to have enough earth-moving equipment. These are earth-moving equipment for construction. After that, you may not need earth-moving equipment. When you have done the first phase, you have done
10 minutes more. 10 minutes more.
Yes, sir. Make items simple and clear. Use the appropriate language. Begin with warm items. Avoid personal attracting items. Make sure that the subject you are discussing is not a rock science to the respondent. Create a balance between positively and negatively stated items. And very important, be ethical in your language. And finally, avoid information overload. Don't overload your respondents. Don't overload your respondent. Also, we need to understand the difference between adaptation of an instrument and adopting an instrument. When you adapt, you pick a particular instrument that someone has used and you make changes to adjust to your community and your purpose. To adopt means you take it and use it almost hook, line, and sinker. Other sources of getting items include past research instruments, literature, experts in the field that you are working on. Those that are validating will also be used. The problems you're investigating, you can extract items from there, from the research question as well. from field experience, and from the community that you are investigating. They can give you ideas and several other sources. So let's look at the second leg. We are looking at the construction. The second leg is the validity of the instrument. Our professor last week gave us a heavy dose of validity and reliability. So today I'm not going to bore you with all he has said, but I'll just try to spice some of the things that I need to articulate. I'm specifically talking about the validation process. Who are those to be involved with validation process? You as a researcher should be involved. STEM educators should be involved. Experts that will influence your questionnaire should also be involved. Also, relevant teachers and school administrators should also be involved with the process of validation. Samples within the population can also be involved. I tell you by experience, while I was doing my PhD, our professor was the one that supervised me. I was to go ahead and commence my pilot study. And he asked me a question. He said, Mike, do you think these students will be able to respond to this? I had validated, finished my validation process. Experts, psychologists, sociologists, every one of them have finished the job. It was ready for digestion to be served. So he gave me that question, and then I went back to the students, created a wonderful environment, and then I requested from them to do the validation process. I gave each of them the questionnaire, and then we started discussing one by one. I wanted them to tell me their understanding of every item, and if the items are clear and meaningful to them, ladies and gentlemen, I tell you, I changed my questionnaire home. They changed a lot of items there. What is that experience? I realized that they are my customers, and what is good for the customer is what should be produced for them. Reliability. We talked about the concept in the last study, talk about the types of reliability and the process. But I want to mention some essential keys. It's important that you use an instrument. One of the tools that was discussed last week is the Compact Alpha. Very good for reliability. Also, you can use split half, Goodman parallel, and several others. Number two, it's important for you to consider using a pilot test. Very good. Pilot test is very good. It helps to improve the quality of your instrument. You know, all the challenges you will go through, the mistakes you make, you'll be able to improve for the main study. Then, if you have a large instrument item and you need to improve the quality, you need to bring out the best out of it. Sometimes you need the factor analysis. It's not everyone that needs a factor analysis, but be sure you need it. And avoid using longhand to calculate. Have an IBM instrument. So what have we learned today?
Wonderful.
We have learned about the types of questionnaire. We have also highlighted the anatomy of the questionnaire. We have also mentioned the need for us to evolve Afrocentric questionnaire. A questionnaire that is digestible for the African user, not important. Ladies and gentlemen, if we don't help ourselves as Africans, don't wait for any European American to develop the system for you. It's only an African that can develop Africa. And that's why our quintessential distinguished Professor Peter Okebokola is coming up with this instrument after decades of experience. So when you are developing your instrument, be sure it is Afrocentric. Number four, we have identified the sources for deriving items of our questionnaire. We have also list individuals and groups that can be involved. Ladies and gentlemen, our professor, quintessential, distinguished Professor Peter Okebokola, theory of honesty. I will never forget it. He has been talking to me about this theory for years. You know, if you are looking for it, it is one thing to be a professor, it's another thing to be distinguished, but it's another thing entirely to be a model among distinguished professors. I salute your intellectual and prophetic input to Africa over the years.
Thank you, Mike.
We have this theory that says when poverty increases, honesty decreases. And as I brainstorm, I was able to find a chart, a graph that shows it. You will see that as you move on the x-axis, poverty is increasing, And then you go on the y-axis, honesty is decreasing. And therefore, I now say when intellectual poverty increases, honesty of a questionnaires validity and reliability will decrease. It's very simple. When somebody is intellectually poor in developing a questionnaire, they show that person's questionnaire is not valid, is not reliable. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you so very much, Professor Mike Ahove. Yeah, Joseph. Yeah, Ghana, you take the floor. Introduce yourself and take the floor.
My name is Fred Awam. I am from Ghana. I want to thank Professor Mike for that very insightful presentation. The emphasis was on Afrocentrism. So I want to ask if an African researcher is conducting a research that is not related to Africa, maybe Europe, America, or any other part of the world, will the criteria differ or it is standard for all questionnaires?
Very good question. Now we are going to Burundi. Who is asking the question from Burundi? Yeah, just unmute yourself and I will. Okay, I don't have any from Burundi. All right, so I'm going to yield to Ibukun. No, Ibukun, I can't take you. Ibukun Oluwademola, we can't take you. I said one from Nigeria. There are rules in our class. Burundi, take the floor. Yeah, so Burundi is not set. So let me get back to Professor Mike. Professor Mike Ahove, you can respond to the questions.
Thank you very much, sir. I want to appreciate the question from Oladejo. I can see that he thinks ahead and he has prepared himself before coming to class or question. Now, I want to mention that development of instruments takes time and skill. You don't just become an expert in developing instruments, waking up, finish a class, 100 level or 300, and then start developing exceptional instruments. It takes a while. And so you need to read and be well exposed. And I know by the time you are doing your PhD, you are well exposed. You don't necessarily have to put questionnaire at the end of the name of your instrument, but you can identify it also as a questionnaire. It is a questionnaire. Okay, because a questionnaire is an instrument that is actually trying to elicit, trying to extract information from the mind of somebody. You want to elicit it. So that is the questionnaire. So it's not compulsory you write questionnaire, but you can just give it a name. Just like you are a man. I don't have to call you man, Kunle Oladejo.
Except man Ahove. Except man Ahove.
Yes.
Okay.
So that is the you don't have to have a name at the end of it. So that's the basic. I think I've answered your question.
No, go on, just go on.
Then the second one from Ghana. Very, very good question. Very good question. I like your question. Now, do you know what I want us to accept as Africans? Number one, I am good and I'm proud of what I am doing. Don't allow anybody from anywhere in the world to let you think that you are not wise enough. I am developing an instrument that is Afrocentric. There are philosophical framework for that instrument. If you come from America, you must abide by that philosophy. That is the simple thing. So if you are doing a collaboration with anybody in the US and you are developing an Afrocentric instrument, anybody who wants to respond must fall in line. It's a principle that you must follow. Principle is general. If I take an apple and I drop it on the plate, it will land on the floor. That is what we are trying to bring back here. So if you don't follow the Afrocentric style, the instrument will not be Afrocentric. If somebody in the US wants to respond and it's an African, then let the person respond. Okay. So the white man who has developed the Piagetian theory, for instance, they have principles for the use. They will not say because they're coming to Africa, therefore, let's change the principle. Let's change the theory. No. This is Africa, and anybody who is coming in has to fall in line. And that is how we can become very proud of ourselves. For instance, However, I saw your document, I mean, your write-up on Afrocentric citizenry on the world.
Yeah, we can round up now. We can round up now.
Yeah,
One more minute.
So that's what we should be doing. Thank you, sir.
Thank you so very much. We appreciate Professor Michael Ahove and all those who have asked him questions and the response that he has given. I'd like us to note what he has said. And I'd like you to reflect on what Professor Shola Adeshope said. He is based in the US. Fred, you can't go to that US and come up with a questionnaire and administer to the American students. What Mike is actually saying is that you should make your questionnaire to be context relevant. You are in Africa, you are administering questionnaires to African students. You are doctoral students. And we are sure you are not going to be collecting your data from Asia or from America or from Europe. We are sure you are not going to do that. You are going to be collecting your data from Africa. That's why he has said, make it Afrocentric. What some other people will do, they will just take, I examined a thesis in Ghana some 4 months ago at the University of Education in Winneba. And I found that this person just took the questionnaire straight from the American place and was administering it here. And I had issues with that. Dr. Shola Adeshope told us he's based in the US. He's a Boeing flight, a Boeing who make aircraft, Boeing distinguished professor. He said in the US, you cannot come there and just be doing this to that. You have to do it when in Rome, do as the Romans. That's the long and short of what Professor Michael Ahove has said. We'd like to thank him again. And as is our usual practice, I'm going to invite Professor Tony Olusonya to make a presentation on our behalf to Professor Mike Ahove. Professor Tony Olusonya is Deputy Vice Chancellor Osun State University. They are both friends, and that's why I'm asking him to present to his friend. But just give me a minute while I set up the plaque. We are 1 minute, please. Yeah, we are making an appreciation. You are giving the appreciation on our behalf. So please carry on, Professor Tony Olusonya.
I always find it very tough when I have to appreciate somebody that I know, but I would say that just few sentences.
Yeah, no, but you can see the plaque. You are presenting this plaque to him. Can you see the plaque on your screen?
To him, yes, sir.
Yeah, okay.
I can see the plaque.
Just present this plaque. No need. You can present him privately. Any other sentence?
All right, sir. On behalf of all of us, and through the
just read this plaque. No, just read this plaque.
Okay, sir.
Present this plaque to
Lagos State University, African Center of Excellence for Innovation and Transformative STEM Education, ACEITSE, World Bank supported project. This is to certify that Dr. Michael Ahove facilitated courses ACE 811 and ACE 911 on today, between April 20 and 25, 2020. And this plaque is presented to you, Dr. Michael Ahove.
Wonderful.
Our facilitator for this period. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Let's
all give him a wonderful round of applause. I'm going to unmute everybody now so that you appreciate him. Thank you all very much. So that brings us to the end of this first lecture. The second one will start almost immediately, and we'll have another very exciting time.